Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is progress equals happiness. Well, I've got an email from a viewer who, about a month or so ago, I answered one of his previous emails or talked about some of the successes that he was having in a video newsletter that was titled "Problems Are Signs of Life." And so he kind of gives an update of like what's transpired since then and things he's having, some challenges that he's running into. And so what we're going to talk about is the importance of circulation and constantly trying to grow your social circle. In other words, if you're trying to improve your pickup skills or your dating skills or your relationship skills with women, you got to practice. It's the only way you're going to get better. So I have a quote that I wrote in this topic, and then we're going to go right through his email and look at some of the things that he's doing and where his challenges were and how he's kind of modified his approach along the way. And that's what's it's just like working out. When you start working out, you start growing in your strength and what you can bench, you start gaining weight, you start gaining muscle mass, and then you kind of hit a plateau for a while where you're not really getting any stronger, you're not really getting much bigger, and then all of a sudden you kind of reach another, it starts to take off a little bit, and then you reach another plateau. It's kind of like that with anything in life, whether it's your career or your social circle, your group of friends, lovers that are in your life, or working out or taking care of your body. It's just anybody that's trying to lose weight. You might lose a bunch of weight at first, and then it kind of plateaus for a while, and then a bunch more weight starts to come off. And that's the way it is. The key with anything in life is you got to be consistent in your approach. You have to consistently take action, consistently try to refine your approach. It's one of the acronyms I learned from Tony Robbins 20-something years ago. He has this acronym called CANI, and it stands for Constant and Never-Ending Improvement. It's like when you try something, you take action, you're going to get results. Good or bad, indifferent, doesn't matter. The bottom line is when you take action, you're going to get results. And from those results, you want to continue to refine your approach. And so if you take a certain approach and that doesn't work, you need to take a step back, look, analyze your situation, come up with a new way or a new idea that you attack the same problem until eventually you get to the point of just through trial and error where you get good enough to get past wherever the ceiling is or the plateau that you've reached, or to overcome any obstacle that you're encountering in any area of your life. And so I'm going to go through this quote that I wrote, and then we're going to go through his email. And the quote says, "When you know you are desired and wanted by many friends, potential lovers, you can't help but feel happy and grateful. Why? This is evidence that you are valued, appreciated, desired, wanted, special, and loved. Everyone wants to feel special and feel like their life has value and meaning, not only to themselves, but to other people. If you want to create a great social life, full of great friends, and plenty of amazing romantic options, you need to continually circulate and approach new dating prospects. This will create an abundance in your life due to sheer force of numbers." Think about it this way. Any successful long-term business is successful because they have a continuous stream of new and repeat customers. If you want to have a great social life, you need to create a steady stream of new and repeat social encounters. It's so true. When you think about a business, most businesses go out of business because either they don't know how to handle their existing customers effectively where they make a profit on each transaction, or they don't have enough customers. How many times have you gone into a restaurant and the food was kind of average and you look around and you're like the only person in there eating? And then shortly after that, the place goes out of business. Well, for those of you whose personal life or social life, there's nothing going on or there's not much going on, maybe you just broke up with your long-term relationship and now you're trying to get back into the game. Well, if you're not interacting with new people, it's going to be really hard to have an abundance. But if you're constantly out there and you're interacting with new people and making new connections, making new friendships, making new romantic connections, over time, in a short period of time, you're going to have an abundance of people in your life who are going to like you and who are going to want you in your life. And that makes things really easy. It gives you lots of practice. And the more practice you can get at anything in life, your skills are going to grow faster and faster the more practice that you get with anything. You can't help but get better the more you do something, especially those things that you're scared of or intimidated or you feel fearful about, worrying about success or failure, worrying if it'll work out, worrying if your friends or family or your peer group will accept you or love you. So let's go through his email. It says, "Hey Corey, it's interesting to see the progress I've made in about a month's time after going out and meeting people and using the online dating app Tinder and online dating. I met the beauty queen, which was awesome in just my first week on my own, but I didn't have a lot of other contacts who were interested after that." And when things like that happen, what do guys tend to do? Like, oh, I met this girl and I really liked her, but she didn't like me back. Oh no. But if you're constantly out there meeting and you don't let that bother you, it's one of the things I say all the time. Like guys that are trying to meet new women, or maybe they had a relationship end, or they're just not good with women in general. They're socially awkward. Well, what I always say is ask out 100 different women over the course of the next month. Apply the things I talk about in the video, improving your social skills. You start out making eye contact, and you go from making eye contact to smiling, and then you go from making eye contact and smiling and saying hello to the women and people in general who make eye contact and smile back at you. You're going to have much positive experience. And then the key is to get to the point where if you see a woman that you like, you walk right over and you go, "God, you are absolutely stunning. You take my breath away. You're exactly the kind of woman I've been looking for, I'd like to meet. You got 10 minutes to join me for a cup of coffee over at Starbucks or this coffee shop over here?" Really simple. That's your first date right then and there. You sit down and you have a connection. Say things go really well, and before you know it, you're there for 2 hours. You go, "Hey, you know what? I'm having such a good time with you. Would you care to join me for dinner?" Then you're having dinner together. Then after that, maybe you go somewhere and you shoot some pool or darts, or maybe you go bowling, or maybe you have a few beers, or you go some place where you can have some. If you're a drinker, go to a little wine bar. And at some point when she's playing with her hair and she's touching your arm and she's really close and you're close to her, you make the move. You start making out. And you think about it, after 3 or 4 hours on a date that just kind of magically happens like that, that's the love story happening. That's how it happens in all the romance novels. It's just this random meeting with a random stranger, and boom, next thing you know, "Hey, you know what? Would you care to join me back at my place for a glass of champagne or a cup of coffee or an espresso or whatever, or a cup of tea," whatever you happen to drink. If you guys are all over each other and you're frisky and she feels safe and comfortable and you've gone to 2 or 3 different places over the course of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, whatever it happens to be, sure, yeah, let's get out. Or she might say, "You know what, let's just have another drink here." Great. Have another drink, talk for a while, another cup of tea or coffee, whatever it happens to be, and maybe an hour or so from now, from that point, when you're all over each other, you want to get out and go back to my place? It's exactly how salespeople, they do a trial close. A trial close is trying to see how receptive you are of the idea to doing business with them. It's the same thing when you want to seduce somebody. "Hey, would you care to join me back at my place for a glass of champagne?" They can say, "No, let's stay here." They can say, "Yeah, that'd be a great idea." They say, "Yeah, it's a great idea. Let's do it." Great. They can either follow you back to your place, or they can hop in your car and go with you. Or if they're not ready, you can continue hanging out where you're at. Maybe a few hours later, an hour or two later, you ask them again. And maybe then when you ask them, then they're more comfortable. They say, "You know what, that's great. Let's do that. Let's get out of here." And then literally, it's like once that happens, it's pretty much both of you know where it's going to end up, as long as you don't talk her out of it. And that's how the seduction process goes. So the idea is, if you want to get better and you want to have more options, is that ask out 100 women over the next month. I always say the great place to go is the malls. Lots of beautiful women there if you're a guy, either working there or shopping there or just hanging out with their friends or doing whatever. Target-rich environment to practice. So you go, say, if you're off in the weekends, you go on a Saturday and you go on a Sunday for 2 or 3 hours at a time. You can ask out 10 to 12 different women over the course of 2 to 3 hours. It's not hard to do. Ask out 100 women is exactly in the way that I was talking about. Watch the video improving your social skills, and then go and practice those things step by step. Maybe you spend a whole weekend just making eye contact until you feel comfortable. There's other people that go and they do that thinking, "Oh, I'm just going to work on eye contact today." And within an hour or two of that, they're asking women out on dates and making dates and having dates right on the spot. You ask out 100 different women. That's 25 women per week. If you go to the mall on Saturdays and Sundays, or 2 days a week for 2 or 3 hours at a time, you're going to get a lot of practice, because at the end of the day, attraction is not a choice. If you ask out 100 different women over the course of a month, 10 to 12 of them are going to go out with you. And if you follow the things step by step that I talk about in my book, 3 to 5 of them will end up sleeping with you. If you're looking for a girlfriend or a relationship or friends with benefits, all it takes is one good one. You got one good one, work on getting a second and a third and a fourth, or constantly improving the quality. And obviously practice. You want to practice safe sex as well, because you don't want to slip one past the goalie, and now you got babies with somebody that you're really not crazy about. So you got to be smart about these things as well. So let's get back to his email. He says, however, as I've learned and adapted my approaches, tested and found out what works, I'm now starting to have my phone get blown up by women wanting to talk to me. This is exactly what I was talking about. He's out there practicing these things. And like I said, a month ago, I answered his email, and problems are a sign of life. And he had a great, positive first experience within a matter of minutes. I think there was 2 or 3 of them were just not interested and were cold, and then you met this one girl, and things just flowed like butter. That's what you're looking for. Remember, attraction is not a choice. And so if you ask out 100 different women, what do the numbers shake out to be? Again, 80 to 90% of the time, you're going to fail. You're going to strike out. That's just the way it is. That's a numbers game. And so if you know that ahead of time, keep a log of that. So when I'm doing phone sessions with people, this is exactly what I tell them to do if they're having a hard time meeting women. If you do these things, you don't have to necessarily go to the mall, but you got to go where there's a lot of women that you can practice on. The mall is a great place because there's going to be thousands of people there, hundreds and hundreds of women if you're at a decent size mall. And if you're going on Saturday and Sunday, you're not going to see the same people there twice, unless you're going to some of the store. Maybe the same clerks work there. But it's a great way to practice your skills and not have any of your friends around you where they can laugh at you or make fun of you. You can just go at your own pace. And when you start out initially, you really are kind of like another person shopping in the mall. You're just kind of friendly. And each time, as your comfort level grows, you become a little bit more bolder, and you take it a step further, following the things I talk about in my book and also the video Improving Your Social Skills, until you're either getting phone numbers or making dates right on the spot. It's that simple, because once you get to that point, like I said, over the course of a month, if you go 2 days a week for 2 to 3 hours at a time, in 1 month's time, in 4 weeks' time, you can ask out 100 different women. If you do that for 2 or 3 months in a row, your social life is going to be so fucking busy. This guy's like basically 2 months, his phone's blowing up all the time. Why? Because he's constantly out there. He's constantly circulating. He's constantly meeting new people. And when you're constantly meeting new people and you're constantly out and about and you're asking women out left and right every time you see one that you like, pretty soon your phone's going to be getting blown up all the time. If you screw up with 1 or 2 or 3 of them, say you go out on 2 or 3 dates and you screw up, who cares? Because you're always meeting new people. And eventually you get to the point, like the video that I did, the video newsletter before this one, it's just a matter of time before you meet a really great gal. He says, Corey, it's interesting to see the progress I've made in about a month's time after going out and meeting people and using the Tinder app and online dating. I met the beauty queen, which was awesome in my first week of my own, but I didn't have a lot of success of it. However, as I've learned and adapted my approaches, tested, and found out what works, exactly what I was talking about before. Repetition is the mother of skill. He takes action. He gets results, good, bad, indifferent. Notices what's working, does more of that. He notices what's not working, so he does less of that. He's constantly refining his approach. You learn really quick. Repetition is the mother of skill. This is how you get better. This is how any professional athlete gets better. This is how any musician who becomes really amazing gets better. This is how a CEO of a company, any CEO of major Fortune 500 companies, when you talk to them, a lot of them made huge blunders through the course of their career. A lot of them, sometimes they made blunders that cost their previous companies or their current company millions of dollars. But they learn from it. They don't make the same mistakes, hopefully. He says, I'm now starting to have my phone get blown up by women wanting to talk to me. Each time I meet one that is beautiful, I remind myself to keep circulating and not get hung up on just one woman. That advice is paying off huge. Circulation is the key to the universe. Think about it. If your heart stopped beating, it'd be a bad day. If the earth stopped rotating around the sun, that would be a problem. If the earth stopped spinning, that would be a problem. Everything stays in balance when you circulate. By doing that, I'm always seeking and looking and never feeling needy. If a woman doesn't text back right away, there's a large pool of others to talk to. I'm happy to say that I feel progress happening in this area, and now there's a couple of really high-quality women that are entering the mix. constantly refining your stable, if you will, your stable of women that you're hanging out, having fun, and hooking up with. As your skills improve and your confidence improves, the quality of the women that you're able to attract is going to improve. And also your peer group, your friends, the guys that you're hanging out with. Like attracts like. You got to become the kind of person that you want to attract. And this guy is doing that. He's doing the work on himself step by step. It's not an overnight thing. Again, this is over a course of about 2 months. He's having all these great successes here. He went from not having much success, recovering from a bad relationship ending, and now look at him. His social life is blowing up. He says what's great about this is that talking to them feels just like talking to any other woman now, as I've done it so much. Now it's becoming like breathing. It's like ordering a Happy Meal at McDonald's. Not a big deal. I'm starting to integrate your techniques in my memory, and it's becoming second nature. I'm keeping text to a minimum. I ask for the number after a few Tinder messages. I'm playful. I use banter. I hit the tennis ball over the net and wait. I've had a few contact me after a few days, and I can tell they are thinking about me, probably wondering why I don't text back again until they do. Remember, it's a scientific fact that women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. Especially in the beginning when you're trying to attract women and they're getting bombarded by all the guys who are needy, insecure, desperate, and they act like horny teenagers trying to lose their virginity for the first time. You're going to be the one that she wants to go out with and she gives her phone number to, because you're not like everybody else. He says, I'm feeling very good and I'm happy about the progress I'm making. Well, good job, dude. You're doing the work. Therefore, you're getting the results. It's like one of the things that Jerry Rice, the Hall of Fame wide receiver, who played for, I think, 20 years in the league, one of the best receivers, if not the best NFL wide receiver to ever play the game. One of the things that he said, and the way he lived his life and applied himself in his sport and his profession was, today I will do what others won't, so tomorrow I can accomplish what others can't. This guy here recovered from a bad breakup just 2 months ago. He's doing the other things that most guys won't do. Guys that are like, oh, women don't like me. Oh, women don't want to go out with me. I have my social life. There's nothing going on. That's because they're not doing anything about it. This guy is taking action. He's getting results. He's failing a lot, but that's just part of the process. You have to accept that. You have to accept that you're going to fail. You have to accept that you're not going to get most women that you go after. Most women that you go after are going to reject you. That's just the way it is. And once you become okay with that, that helps put you in a non-hungry, abundant state. Where you don't look at one, oh my God, she rejected me, it's the end of the world. Just like, hey, I'm one woman closer. I'm one interaction closer to that magic one who says, hell yeah, I'll go out with you. That's what you want. That's what you fucking deserve. You deserve to have spectacular in your life. And when you act the way this guy is acting, spectacular is getting closer and closer and closer. Again, circulation is the key to anything in life. You must continually circulate. You must continually refine your approach. You must continually learn from your mistakes and your interactions and constantly focus on getting better. It's just like Tony Robbins' acronym, CANI. Constant and never-ending improvement. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to book a paid phone, Skype, or email coaching session. You can choose any of those options by going to my website, clicking the Products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions for booking whichever option works best for you. And I will talk to you soon.